This is the Bitcoin Made Simple podcast. Here's your host, Corey Tusick.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. On this week's episode, I interviewed Lamar Wilson. I wanted to bring Lamar on because, there's been a lot of talk of toxicity, and I heard him in a space giving some pretty strong pushback to Udi about some things in ETH that just weren't true. So I wanted to talk to him about that because, I think it's effective to be able to push back strongly and you are perceived maybe as toxic at that moment, but you're just spitting facts. So and then I know there's been we were in a space just the other night after we had recorded this and talking about he was talking about ETH. I don't think he was pushing it, but I want to have a further conversation with him about that and talk about that. But yeah, we had a good conversation, and Lamar is good people, so I love chatting with him. And I think we both agree in the sense that you don't want to turn people away, but I'm hyper vigilant against shitcoiners. So we talked about that. We get into Bitcoin, is money, and what's the best way to orange pill people and his thoughts on that. And then we also start off with a phishing story at the beginning. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. The sponsor for this episode is Coinbeast. Coinbeast Connect. Do you have questions about Bitcoin? Personalize your learning and book a one-on-one video call with a Bitcoin pro on Coinbeast Connect. Learn about mining, security, the Lightning Network, DeFi, taxes, and many other topics. It's really easy. Choose your topic and pro, select a date when you're available, and bring your questions to the meeting room. Book your first call today by going to coinbeast.com and clicking on the Connect tab. Be prepared for the financial revolution and get the knowledge you need. Also, the other sponsor, sorry, I was getting a call in the middle of that. Hope it doesn't come through on the recording. Also sponsored by Movies Plus. That's my streaming platform you guys have heard me talk about. Go to Movies Plus, mymoviesplus.com, or in the app stores, just search for Movies Plus. We have thousands of titles at this point that you can stream for free. You can check it out for 1 month for free. There's a free trial. So just download the app, check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We have some Bitcoin content going up there and other projects in the works. So I hope you guys like it. If you want to reach out to the show handle is at Bitcoin Simply. My personal one, which is what I'm using more now, is at Corey_Tusick. And then you can email the show, Bitcoin Made Simple Podcast @gmail.com. Thanks. So since we both have our old men with our blankets and our matching yellow shirts, I guess this means whenever we get to the Citadel someday in our old age, like you and I will just like sit at the fishing pond,
Right. Listen, you don't understand. I love fishing. So yeah, this is you talking my language, sir. You are talking my language.
Oh, I love fishing. We went fishing this summer at the ocean and
oh man,
and actually caught some fish. So we were just catching and releasing because I wasn't about to sit there and spend all the time cutting it and cleaning it and everything. My son just wanted to drop a line in the ocean, and I was like, let's do it.
I still have not gone deep sea fishing.
That's something I want to do out on a boat.
Yes. Still have
something like a marlin or something like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to catch a mahi or a dolphin, dolphin or mahi, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
Like a bull one with the big head. I want to catch one.
Yeah, the mahi. Did you ever remember that from the movie Legally Blonde when she's like, I'll have the mahi, but instead of both mahis, I'll just have the one.
That's what I'm saying, man. I would love to. I don't remember Legally Blonde, but I would love to catch one of those. Like I don't know why. That or some kind of jack, because it looks like they always give like crazy fights.
Oh yeah, it'd be fun. My dad, there's this one lake nearby that that's probably before I was born, and he always told the fishing story of a muskie that he fought for, I don't know, probably like an hour or so, and then it finally broke away. But him and my uncle were chasing it all over it was pulling them everywhere. I don't know how big they are, but I know they're pretty big.
That's like my dad thinks he hooked into a sturgeon one time. And he said down the beach. Yeah, because he was in Michigan, he said? He was like I think he was in Detroit or something. And he said the people down the beach were like, man, you got a huge one on. And he said that I guess they could see the tail. And he didn't have like the right tackle. He was just like there visiting my cousins. So he just had like this little bit light tackle, but he was like letting it run and trying to wear it out. And he slowly got it closer to the beach, but it was like parallel down that way. And he said it, all of a sudden it woke up and just took back into the deep, man. He said he finally got it up close and everybody down the beach was like, oh my gosh.
Like, sturgeon are huge.
Yeah, man, they can get big. And he thinks he hooked into one. So that's like his big fishtail. He always tells people, he's like, man, I was, it's like the one he loves to tell all the time.
Every time he tells it probably gets bigger and closer to the beach.
Yeah, and then it was as big as the boat and it knocked the boat over. And then,
it was like fishing. Jaws. It was biting the boat and we were hanging on.
Fishing from the bank. Yeah, he just fishing from the bank too, man. So yeah.
So I wanted to have you back on because I wanted to talk toxicity with you because I think when I messaged you, I popped in a room and was it specifically for you and Udi to be debating, or is that just how it shaped up?
It just shaped up like that. Like, I mean, Udi's good people. He's a cool cat, man. But we have opposing views.
And what was he trying to say? It was something about NFT.
He was talking about he's talking about Ethereum and that it's way bigger than what we think. And I was like, well, on-chain traffic doesn't say it's that big, right? Like it may be big and it might have a lot of buzz, but actual usage, on-chain traffic don't really say that, right? So that's what I was telling them. I was like, there's not much on-chain traffic to say that this is what's actually happening, right?
Yeah.
And so he was like, no, you crazy. Like there's millions of people. And I'm like, I don't see that because you can literally go look and see how many interactions these contracts are getting on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So it might be happening on like an OpenSea. There might be a lot of stuff happening on OpenSea, but the actual usage of Ethereum is different. And so I'm like, because that's how I look at all of those anyway. I'm like, they're just like nice databases to use, right? Like Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's like, but these might be like a special type of database or a special type of thing that you use just to use it as, to use it and then you get out of there. It's like I was saying, it's like you go to Chuck E. Cheese, you take Chuck E. Cheese tokens, you play the games at Chuck E. Cheese, and then you leave. It's like if you need to use Ethereum to store something, okay, you buy a little Ethereum and you store something, but it's not something that you're not holding on to Ethereum forever. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a programmer or something, you want to use Ethereum because it gives you certain properties. That's what you do. But Bitcoin is completely different than that, right? Bitcoin is money. Bitcoin is right. It's a store of your value. It's a store of your time. So that's the part that we were kind of going back and forth on because Udi kind of fights against Bitcoin, like pure Bitcoin maxis. Because he's an OG, been in the game forever, like me. Like we've been around for a while. So he really fights against some of these new Bitcoin maxis that are like, nothing else, everything else is a scam. Like, you know what I mean? When it's just, a lot of this stuff is just pure technology. I just like to call people on the carpet about this usage. Because they always like, it's like, oh, you should see the amount of usage. I'm like, I'm looking at the chain. Like how much usage is actually happening,
Yeah. So, I don't see it. You can actually look at it and see it. And that's what I thought was funny because you were like, Udi, like I'm looking at it. It's not there,
right. Right. I'm like, you can go look at it, Udi. He's like, I don't care what that said. He's going through that. So it is what it is. I mean, and he said,
so you've known him a while, right?
No, I haven't known him that long. I just been in the game for a long time and know of him.
And he's been in the game too,
Yeah, so you know of people, right? But as far as like me, the first time I met him was in Texas. Like this whenever I got COVID, Bit Block Boom. That's the first time I met him in person. Like, of course, we talk on Twitter all the time, but that's how everybody is, right? Everybody got like an internet relationship with people. So so
was he always curious? I thought, from me getting into the space, I thought he was a pure Bitcoin maxi, and then I was kind of surprised to see him go down the NFT route.
This is the thing I'm saying. All of us in this game, especially the ones that come from the tech side, have probably like tried out. Like I've programmed on Ethereum, I've programmed on Hyperledger. Like it's what you do. It's tech, right? And so you have this side of individuals that is coming in from a financial standpoint, and not necessarily separating that from the fact that all of this other stuff is to be explored. That's how you figure stuff out. And as a developer, that's why I don't never have like, I don't give a crap about nobody like coming at me or none of that. Like, listen,
Yeah.
I had a life before Twitter. I'm gonna have a life after Twitter.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I don't care about this stuff. And because I saw something that was just so toxic. One of the I always call them the Anon Twitter lynch mob.
Yeah.
One of the lynch mob, they were like, but that's not right because they made their name off the backs of us Bitcoiners. And I was like, so you basically saying you made this person? You anonymous.
Yeah.
Nobody know you. Like, if you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? So it like all
your
of this
profile
stuff,
picture is a picture of a guy walking down a beach with a thing on his head, you know.
Man, listen, I'm the old man on Twitter. I realize this now because I was not a Twitter guy, right? Like I was on Facebook more. I was on like all this other stuff. And I finally just came to Twitter once I got on Clubhouse because it made it a lot easier for me to interact with people from Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started getting involved on Twitter. And it was funny because I was one of the first people, period, to get spaces. Like I was like very top line of the people to get spaces. So when spaces first came out, I was testing it would break a lot and all that. But that's what I'm saying. Like I wasn't on Twitter. And so me coming into that culture of Twitter, the only time I will see Twitter is like if it will be quote unquote Black Twitter, right? Black Twitter is funny. So if you get into a thread on Black Twitter and you, it's like somebody might share something and you get into those threads, it'd be hilarious. Like you're talking about a war show or whatever. But anyway, so I got on Twitter and I was like, look at this culture of individuals. They're like attacking each other.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's so off-putting to me because my experience in the Bitcoin space, even if some people were bigoted, they were cool in the Bitcoin space. They might not even like Black people, but we were cool because we were down with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You understand? Like I dealt with some of the most racist stuff I've ever dealt with at a Bitcoin conference. Like real talk.
Yeah.
Like just straight blatant saying racist stuff, right? And I'm from Kentucky, so think about that.
Kentucky is on.
Yeah, think about that. I'll go to a Bitcoin conference and I hear some of the craziest stuff I've ever heard. But in the same breath, the other people there, even those people from a Bitcoin perspective were cool. It was like, it was way more love at the beginning of Bitcoin. And now it feels like we getting into this polarized type of situation like the whole rest of the nation.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I mean, I don't understand why people are picking fights. And like, believe me, I sit there all day and bite my tongue when I see stuff on Twitter because I'm like, I want to pick fights. You know, I'm like, I see stuff and I'm like, oh, come on, like, you know, that's ridiculous. Right. You know, but like, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'll let people duke it out and yeah, but it's just it's a little weird, like, you know, and then like
it's not weird, it's nature.
True,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you see this all the time. And I started making the analogy of like Salem witch hunts. It's like at some point, every woman becomes a witch that you don't like. Just so, right? Just so you can attack them with your homies and feel like you belong to something.
Feel like you did something.
Right. Feel like that's your accomplishment. Like there's the witch hunts. There's the when people were calling people commies back in the day. Right. It's the same thing that's going on now. This polarization, this division that's happening in our country now, vaccinated versus non-vaccinated. People getting in civil wars over whether somebody wants to put a needle in their arm or not. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the world is so, like right now, it's so full of division because for a lot of these companies to keep people online, to keep people with their eyeballs, you have to be as polarizing as possible. Shout out to Fox News for kind of telling the media world this, right? Showing the media world this. Like Fox News, they understood that doing that would make it a great business. Like, what's my man's name? I can't think of his name. Is it Roger Ayers? What was his name?
Yeah,
Roger
the guy that
Ailes or something. Yeah, that guy who
CEO
started
or whatever.
That started Fox News. I think it's I can't remember the dude's name. The dude that started it, I always look at it as being ingenious because he understood that by creating a polarized group of individuals, you would not only get those people who are on your side, but you probably get more people who didn't like your stuff to watch your stuff because they just trying to figure out what they can be mad about.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what I feel like is going on right now with Bitcoin Twitter and like this group of maxis. And I didn't know that I was jumping into that pit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you didn't know. Yeah, you walked right into.
Yeah, and nobody, and to be honest, the Bitcoin maxis really don't go at me that hard. Like they really don't really go after me that hard. But just me seeing them kind of bullying on other people, I've always been a person that fight bullies. So it's like just me seeing them do that. It's like, no, man, that's not cool. Like you're gonna get more flies with honey than you are with vinegar.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? I understand they call themselves the cyber hornets and all of this other stuff, right? But if you stinging people that can actually come in and benefit from this, and stinging people that can actually come in and actually help you benefit by adding more people that can actually tell what's great about it. And not just like calling everybody scammers, trying to go after every single person. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like that whole, and something like you said, some people say that's just the toxic nature of the internet. But I'm saying like, it don't have to be like that in Bitcoin. So what I'm doing is I'm like, okay, you got the crowd, and most of the people who have a lot of Bitcoin, like they're not as toxic as the guys who don't have a lot that just got in, that just learned last week. Those guys, it's almost like it's almost like getting in a game. It's like,
they got to prove,
guys, they got to prove them. So they doing drive-bys on people. You know what I'm saying? To prove that they
like somebody puts the letters NFT in a tweet and they're not even referring to a non-fungible token, and they just get, just...
That's real. It's like these dudes, and I'm like, I said it this morning on Twitter. I said, some of these Bitcoin maxis are like a kid that walks into his first karate class, and then the next day he opens up a dojo.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, bro. You just got a yellow belt. Like, you're not whooping Bruce Lee. You know what I'm saying? Like, just calm down, learn, get the skills down, go break a few boards first. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they jump off the ship because it becomes their identity. And that's the part that I think that's happening right now, is that Bitcoin is becoming some people's identity because it separates them from those people that they didn't get down with in the first place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a Bitcoiner. I found my tribe. It's like the gang. I found my gang. I feel like I belong to something. And so to prove my loyalty to these other Bitcoin maxis who are not as like crazy as they are.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Jimmy Song is one of the sweetest dudes on the planet, man. Like, great, nice guy. That's my dude, right? Love that guy. He's a Bitcoin maxi. He's very harsh and rough, but he's not going to do half the stuff these guys are doing.
Yeah. Or they're just like blatantly insulting people, or like, memeing them. Like I felt bad for Log Scale, the guy that would host all those spaces.
Yeah.
Because he started getting bullied, and really, I mean, to me, like you have to have thick skin, but also at the same time, and there's going to be trolls out there and whatever. But there's all like, I felt bad for Log because he had said before that he was in his 50s, and like he, I think, just recently tweeted and said that like he just started hosting spaces like whenever Twitter Spaces came out, and that's why it became a thing. So like there's this guy that he didn't become a Bitcoin maxi until like, Bitcoin only till May or June of this year. Right. And then all of a sudden he's hosting these spaces for people. And he said, he was like, I'm single, I have the time. So, I was like, thought it was like interesting conversation. And then like all of a sudden this like 50-year-old dude who never had to deal with this like cyber bullying is all of a sudden like people were like taking shots at him left and right. So it's easier for somebody like me that's younger to be like, all right, like I'm adaptable. I've been in the internet for a little bit here.
Right.
And so I felt bad for him for that scenario. And like at the same time, I get where people were coming from, where they say like, we got to be careful of, spooks and all that stuff coming in. Like when that Jason Lowry from Space Force came in and everybody was like, he's an enemy. And it's like, I mean, I get it. But
it's I don't know. Like,
but you can't be, but like you don't have to be mean.
right. Like and I listen, they like Lamar, you gotta toughen up. I'm like, bro, tough is not internet. Like,
Yeah.
come see me somewhere else, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, tough ain't the internet, bro. So my whole thing is like it's nuts to me because like log, like again, I used to do Twitter Spaces because I was like one of the only people, and I definitely was doing the first Bitcoin Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
And log used to come in my rooms.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? At the very
Yeah.
beginning of all of this. So log, like a lot of these cats used to come in my rooms, right? I remember I was doing them in Preston. He came into one real early and it shut down. You know what I'm saying? So Preston's like, yeah, man, I came in your room, but it's just like that's what happened. And then I looked up and Log was like hosting these great rooms himself, right? Getting a lot of people in there. So I was thinking, like, okay, I see you out here, Log. So Log always bring me on stage whenever I come or whatever, because he knows me from me hosting him and him coming up. And then when I seen them going at him, it's like it's weird because it's like I heard things like we kill our heroes in Bitcoin. Like who cares? Like, why is that something you standing on? Like, is that something big? You kill off your heroes? Like it don't, like they were talking about breed.
You don't have to like want to kill off your heroes. It's just they'll do, if they do it, they're gonna do it to themselves, But I look at that like that advice to me is more like you should be focused on yourself, not so much on like like you shouldn't be focused
leaders,
on
bro.
like I'm if you're in this space because you're like, oh, Preston Pish, if he, thinks it, then I'm going with him. And then, but what happens if Preston changes his mind? You know what I mean? Which people are allowed to change their mind. I don't see that happening, but like I've told people, I said, I'm just waiting. I like to mentally focus on myself and understanding it personally because I trick myself and tell myself like Michael Saylor one day is going to become an ETH. He's going to be a shitcoiner eventually. Like I know that's not the case and everything,
right?
But like just to keep it in check so that you don't put people up on a pedestal.
There you go. That's why I say all the time, like I founded Black Bitcoin Billionaires, right? We founded that club, and the crazy.
By the way, are other people allowed to come in, or I've seen that space, and I'm like, I want to come in, like poke my ear in, like listen, and maybe like if I could ever contribute, but I didn't know if it would be like all of a sudden, like literally, like the whitest dude in the world showed up.
Oh, bro, we actually that's what's so funny, and that's what I hear all the time. We actually have white moderators, so it's like, but yeah, so
I'll poke my head in then,
and that is a funny thing. It's funny to me because for a lot of people, what they'll say is it was like, why does it have to be black? And this is what I always respond with. I'm like, listen, you thought black was what was going to keep you out? You didn't even think about billionaire. See,
yeah, there you
go. It's always like, why do you have to focus on race? And yet there's two words in that thing that.
And everybody looks at, and even I'm guilty of it right there. I'm guilty of it.
Exactly. I always make sure I turn it on them.
And that's a good way because I mean, and even like obviously me, I wasn't malicious.
No, not at all.
But you're just like, yeah, it's what are we thinking about here with the words and like I don't know, the current events like I just watched the Chappelle special. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to cancel him,
They're not gonna be able to cancel Chappelle.
No, he's like
he don't care.
That guy's like one of the most real people in the world that like I'd love if I could. He's like probably top 5 people I'd pick to hang out with for a night. Like go to a bar and hang out.
He has almost become our Aristotle or someone, right?
Yeah, he really.
The way he looks at the world, I love it, man. Like he's doing what a comedian. It's like he's apex level comedian. It's like he's hit like. Because that's what comedians do. They look at the world and they find humor in the world. But at the same time, when they find that humor, they're really giving you an essay of what the world is right now, right? It's like by him he's spotlighting things that are going on in the world, but he's bringing some humor to it just to make you have to think about it in the first place. You might laugh about it. You might cringe laugh about it. But this is what the truth is in the world. And I think that's what great comedians do. And that dude has become like apex comedian. Like
his special, like that new Netflix special, it was more like it was like an entertaining. It was like a humorous TED Talk.
Yes,
like it was like he was giving some information and some knowledge and in a perspective, and just being like, I mean, because he knows he's uncancelable and he doesn't care. Like, so
Right.
he's just like, he's like, I'm good, yeah, it's just crazy. So yeah, it's something
You
that
can't
popped in my
counsel
head.
somebody that walks away from 50 mil, like he said.
Yeah, yeah,
How do you counsel a dude that clearly don't care enough about money to care about what you think about him?
yeah,
Like, you can't counsel that. I say that all the time. It's one dude hit me up and was like, Lamar, they gonna counsel you. Like, counsel me? I was like, only way anybody can counsel me is if my wife walks out of my house and says it's over. That's the only counseling I care about. I'm gonna be
yep.
real with
Oh
you.
yeah,
I don't give a crap about people online. I do what I do. I feel like I'm supposed to be sharing. Listen, for me, I got two callings. One is to Jesus, right?
yep,
And the other one is to this Bitcoin as far as me spreading stuff, right?
yeah,
And so for me, it's like getting the education out about this Bitcoin and financials and all of that kind of stuff. That's something that I just know I'm supposed to be doing. I've been doing it I don't get nothing in return. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
yeah,
I've been doing it because I feel like that there is inequality in this world. And I feel like that's what's supposed to be done. So it goes back to us talking about toxicity. Like,
mm-hmm.
you don't have to beat things into people at all. Like, you can utilize love and show people, because here's the thing. The only real Bitcoiners you're going to ever have are the people that learn how to hold anyway. And how do
Yeah,
you teach somebody how to hodl if all you keep telling them is have fun staying poor? How do you
true.
teach somebody how to hodl if all you keep saying is do your own research as soon as they ask a question? If you
Yeah,
have information, the best way to grow a network is to share it. Like, that's one thing that I found, my brother. Like, I have been able to grow groups, right? I have been
mm-hmm.
able to grow, like, on Facebook. I grew a group to about 26,000. I got another group on Facebook, 134,000 people. Of
Oh wow,
course, Black Bitcoin Billionaire, 130,000 people. It's the biggest Bitcoin focused club on Clubhouse outside of Bitcoin itself. So the one thing I've understood about being able to build those types of communities is that you have to add value, and that each node or each person that comes in has to add value, right? It's not
mm-hmm.
just network effect. It's because the network effect actually says that that's what happens, right? The nodes, but you have to be intentional about the value that you add, because what winds up happening is people start coming to that network because they can see the value for themselves. And if all your value you're adding is have fun staying poor, or, you know what I'm saying, do your own research or whatever, like all of these things that are kind of negative in a sense, that ain't gonna really teach nobody anything, then you just lost the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
that's
Like,
true.
you literally lost the opportunity, because now, because what I found, especially in the Black community, what was happening was, because again, things come so late to marginalized groups, not just Black people, but many marginalized groups. The reason why they're called marginalized is because they placed in the margins and people don't find them to be that important. So then nobody markets to them, nobody educates them, nobody, right? Because they don't have the money, the wealth, whatever. So nobody really goes into those communities to try to share this knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what you find is that the people that do go in those communities are your scammers, the people just trying to go in and suck value out of the community. So
Brock
the first
Pearsons
thing
and
that's almost what's so crazy to me is, like, the very first thing that a lot of these people in the marginalized communities find, women, right? Black people, because like in technology, these are definitely the marginalized communities. Stuff doesn't get there till late. Right.
mm-hmm.
So what you wind up finding is that the first introduction they have to something is usually like if it was a streaming platform or something, they wouldn't have Google TV. The first thing they get is from the Hustle Man, it's Fire TV or something with an IPTV on it, that they, right? Like
Yeah,
these scammy type things, because that's what happens. Because, like, they know asymmetric information allows people to have power, and they have information that where they going, they know they don't have the information. So it's way easier to scam them because of the information.
yeah,
So if you're giving people the wrong information from the jump, the very first question those people from those marginalized communities are going to ask is, what about Doge? What
yeah.
happened? What about Shibu Inu? What
Mm-hmm.
about Safe Moon? Those are the first questions, because that's the first thing they hear. Or what about USI Tech or BitConnect? What about these? So when they hear about those things and then they come to you and they say, what about them? And the first thing you say is, why are you asking that question? Have fun staying poor.
Yeah,
Now, all of a sudden, you've lost an opportunity to actually, with some grace, teach them, hey, bruh, that ain't it. That ain't hitting correctly. That's not the right thing. That's a scam. They're trying to get your money. Here, let me give you some value. I don't want nothing from you. I'm just going to give to you. Guess what winds up happening? 9 times out of 10, I ain't gonna say 9 times, probably 8 times out of 10, those people will leave a BitConnect. And if they don't, what happens is when they do get burned, they realize you were the one trying to help them, and then they come back. And they're like, Lamar, my bad, man. I should have listened. What's up with that Bitcoin? I have seen that happen so many times. But if you just straight hit them with the have fun, staying poor, they're not coming back to talk to you.
Yeah.
They like, screw this dude, he's a jerk or whatever, and they're gonna find safe places like the Black Bitcoin billionaires to come and learn this stuff. And I'm like, if we all took the same approach, because listen, there are some people who literally preach toxicity. Like, no, that's the way you gotta be. You should be that way. So I'm like, if that's gonna be out there, I'm gonna preach Bitcoin love. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that, the Bitcoin love, because it like there's a difference between, I think I said something on Twitter whenever that was all going down. I said there's a difference between being toxic as in like, taking down a narrative and showing people what's wrong, and then or just being a dickhead, right. like if you're just being a dickhead, then like you're not doing the right thing. And like, even like, so I have to be careful too, because like sometimes my jokes, like I'll make jokes and I'm like, you know what, people might not know I'm joking, or something like that. And like, so I'm always very weary. So like a lot of times I don't say something, not like I'm censoring myself. I'm like, you know what, like I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. That's not what I'm here to do.
Right.
And yeah, it's just not it's not constructive. And I mean, but at the same time, I also like the fact that like if you have like somebody coming in that's clearly trying to scam, they're gonna get like the dogs are gonna get sick on them, you know what I mean? And like, but I don't think that means you have to be constantly mean to everybody, I guess people say it's like an immune system. Maybe it's like almost, it can become like an autoimmune disorder, where the body starts attacking itself for no reason.
That's what I've seen. Like, to me, it feels like it's cancerous, right? It feels like the cells that keep multiplying wind up being these nasty ones. And so the only way you wind up fighting that is that you have to have a faction of people that are coming at it from a different direction and that are not afraid to stand up to them. Because, I mean, what am I going to lose? Right? Yeah. That's the part. Like, because like you said, there's times that you want to come back and like, man, come on, man. But the fact that your voice is not out there doing that, now all of a sudden, that's all you get is the negativity. If somebody sees you just hop in the middle of it and be like, hey, man, that's not cool. Like, right? Like, it's funny. And it's at a lesser scale, of course, way lesser scale. But it's like with racism. It's like there are plenty of people who aren't racist, but they don't check their friends that are.
Yeah.
So what it does is it provides an environment that says, oh, it's okay for us to be racist. And so someone who may not be as strong as you may say, well, shoot, I'm gonna start saying this racist stuff too, because it feels good around here. This is what makes you popular. The girls laugh. So I'm gonna start saying it, and then it becomes a part of them. And so that's the same thing with this. It's like whenever you see like this blatant toxicity, like that, like I found it weird because I put up a post and I wasn't even talking about the whole Pomp and Natalie situation. I was talking about something completely different. And I had to go learn using that post, like what they were talking about. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like they were responding to me thinking I was making a point about that.
Yeah.
Right. And then so when I see it, I'm like, y'all sitting there calling this girl a scammer because she's selling a class. Like, just don't buy it. Like, I get it. You tell people like, okay, the class, you can get all of it free, but you can also go to the grocery store and buy a hamburger and lettuce and tomato and all of that. But, you probably go to McDonald's or Sonic or something and pick your burger up. You know what I'm saying? And you probably pay way more than you would have paid if you just took a little bit of that same beef and the lettuce and the bread and made your own sandwich at home. So I don't understand why you're coming out against this person and calling him a scammer. I'm like, and it's funny. That's why I feel like some of these cats don't even realize how anti-capitalist or anti-free market they are.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's the free market. Now, it's like, to me personally, I think the free market will speak and be like, yeah, $850 isn't worth it.
I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
My
but
wife said that. She said the idea is great. I think it's cool. Yes, you should focus sometimes and make sure you have a focus around women. But the other part, for what?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I asked my wife, I said, so give me your perspective. And she was like, $850. Whoa. And I was like, yeah. And she was sitting there. She was like, maybe if it was like 100, like, she was trying to think.
Right, that's
and
my
we're going
wife,
back and forth, and we're like, and and I so I don't think, it was a scam. I do understand where people were like, you're taking advantage of the, who Adamo said something. He said, if you're marketing something to somebody, and it's like for a segment of the population, like, to women,
marginalized, yeah.
but it has nothing, but the product has nothing to do with women, then you're just using that to, like, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but like, you're using women to benefit from this thing where it's like, if like my wife kind of said something
that don't make sense though, Corey, because that's
yeah, I mean,
it's the perfect situation. It's listen, if there's a concert and you call it the Bitcoin Festival, and it's just a concert, the product you're selling is the music, but who you're trying to get there are Bitcoiners.
That's true. It's true.
So it's like, it's because you want to hang out and be around Bitcoiners. It's the same thing with Black Bitcoin billionaires. They're like, no, Bitcoin's for everyone. Why you got to put Black on it? And I say the same thing. I was like, why do you put BitBlock Boom on a Bitcoin conference? Like, why do you put the Bitcoin conference? Because you want people there that are into that. And
yeah.
If you got Black Bitcoin billionaires, it's like, okay, Black. Hey, we want to find some Black people and show them this is a safe space. So how else do you do that, right? Here's the other part. And this is the part I always have to explain. We've never said that if you're any other race, you can't come in there. We don't discriminate at all.
Yeah.
All I always say is, we're the Black Bitcoin billionaires. Everybody is welcome. Just know that it's run by Black people. And if that bothers you, then that's on you.
Then that's your problem.
That's it.
Well, yeah. So I guess
we don't discriminate. I think people and the line I always get back is, what if it said white Bitcoin billionaires? I was like, I wouldn't be upset. Like, I would not care at all. There's like,
and
no,
like you said there, if it upset you, then it's on you.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what? Say what you want. Like, if it's like a women's class or a women's group, who cares? Like the Pride Festival. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, why ain't you got a homosexual? Why ain't you got a heterosexual parade? It's like, what? Every parade is probably heterosexual based. Like, what
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if you do this with any other thing in society, most people understand. When it gets to Black and white, and here's the thing: the people who always say it to me, that's why I always bring up the billionaire thing. The people who always say that to me, that's like, why is everything got to be about race? And so I always respond with, like, you thinking about Black? That's not why you wouldn't be in our club. We wouldn't let you in if you're not a billionaire. Now all of a sudden they got to think different.
Yeah, they're like, oh, wait a minute. There's a different way to
guess
segment
what?
people off.
Right. The person who said everything's about, why is everything about race, is the main one who is making everything about race. Right. Like, if you want to come in the clubs, just come in the club. Like, the fact that you saw Black and stopped, because there was a time in this country it was like Blacks only, right? Or whites only.
Yeah.
But the fact that you saw the word Black and go, should I even come in there? Can I come on stage? And that's no offense to you, Corey, but it just happens.
I know. I feel terrible now. I feel bad. Like,
I don't want you to. No. Don't feel bad or guilty.
No. But this is good. Like,
do you feel what I'm saying? This is the kind of thing, the mentality that we have to get over. Because even when I was at BitBlock Boom, and I'm gonna give you that story, I was playing chess with my partner Michael Tidwell, and there's a guy next to me, and we were talking about Black Bitcoin billionaires, me and Michael. And the guy next to me goes, why you have to say Black? Like, why does that even need to be in the name? Bitcoin's for everyone. And I was like, think about it. I was like, Michael's putting on a conference in Atlanta called the TAB conference. And I said, everything about it he's trying to get developers. And the guy goes, well, being a developer is a skill. Right. I said, all of his marketing is completely focused towards developers because that's what he wants. That's who he's trying to market to come to the conference because the content's about that. Right.
Yeah.
And dude goes, but development is a skill. I said, but listen, every person that's trying to be a developer is not a developer yet, but they'll go to that conference to learn to become one.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a problem with Michael saying that this conference is for developers? And dude just had to look.
Yeah.
Because he's like, that's what I'm like, how are you at a Bitcoin only conference and don't understand that?
Yeah.
Like BitBlock Boom literally was a Bitcoin only conference. If you had any crap coin, altcoin, whatever, and you try to advertise a BitBlock Boom, it was not going to happen. If you try to put up a table, it was not going to happen. So here you have a Bitcoin only conference and you can't understand marketing to a certain demographic of individuals. But yet all you saw was black. And all you want to say is we're all the same. And why don't we know what true tolerance is, Corey? It's not about all of us being the same. It's about all of us being different and all of us being able to tolerate each other's differences and not even tolerate it, but in many instances,
celebrate them and
celebrate. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that's like the old saying of like, imagine how boring this world would be if we were all the same.
Right.
You know, if everything was the same, if every piece of food tasted the same, if everyone looked the same, every car was the same, every house was the same. It's like, it just doesn't work that way. You know, even like you look at animals, you know, say like you go hunting or something and you're sitting there and you look at like, you know, a certain, you know, fawn, like deer might have like a certain pattern, like of like the spots on it, you know, compare it different to other ones. You're like, oh man, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, yeah, you got to celebrate those differences. So dude, this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you about it. Cause I was like, whenever I was hearing you talk with Udi about it, I was like, I think I even said to you, I was like, hearing your voice is a refreshing like perspective because, you know, there's so much vitriol in going back and forth and people, you know, just like snapping at each other. Cause then the people that are getting attacked start attacking, you know what I mean? And it just, it goes back and forth. And I was like, you are one of the people in this space that's just like level headed, but you're also like assertive, you know what I mean? Like where you're just like, no, like that's not how it is, you know? And like, but that doesn't mean that you're being mean, you know, like you got to be assertive and it's, you know, it's, yeah. And
I think people are afraid to talk about certain things. I'm from Kentucky. And so my whole life, I feel like I've been having these conversations, right? But it's mostly been around racial stuff. Because people have so many stereotypes of things beforehand that the moment you like start showing people that they have this bias or this thing, those that like yourself, you felt kind of bad about it, but you didn't like you're learning.
Yeah.
Right. And the same way with me, I listen and I try to learn from people who are not like me. And so when I start seeing things that it just starts turning me off because the whole mob mentality takes away that individuality and people become the mob instead of themselves. And I've seen people do things in a mob setting that they probably would not do, right? That they would not do on the street by themselves. And when I see that kind of function, I'm like, I don't like that because that's how people get lynched. That's how women get burned at the stake. That's how, right? That's how people get incarcerated for no reason. Like, because once you get into that groupthink mentality and not that individuality, because what happens is that individuality allows you to start moving down a path through education because you're starting to learn for yourself. Groupthink, you're not learning for yourself. You're just learning whatever the group makes you want to think. Right. Right. And that's, I mean, and that's the same thing I do even in because I'm a minister, right? That's what I just said. Most people don't even know that. Like I preach Jesus, right? But at the same time, there's a lot of people within the church settings that I see groupthink and people who don't study for themselves, who don't know for themselves, that don't come to God for themselves. They're only in it because it feels like that's what they're supposed to do. And my whole thing is like, you need to get it for yourself. Get a personal relationship with God, get a personal relationship with Bitcoin, learn Bitcoin for yourself, go down. But here's the thing. I might say do research, but I'm going to give you the knowledge I have to get you started. I'm gonna give you the care package for you go up the mountain.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Here's a little food, like, you know what I'm saying? The mountain is
Here's
rough,
the little things you need.
yeah, these are
Now
little
go
things,
on your
right?
way and enjoy it.
Right. That's just my philosophy of life. And to be honest, like I'm extremely blessed. Like extremely blessed. Like I have just like I just love life. Like real talk. I always say live, love life. I love life because I try to live love. And when you live love, it feels like all of that stuff comes back. So I'm like, let me spread that as much as I possibly can, even throughout Bitcoin. Because if we want more people to actually understand, because that's really what it is. Like, if we really want more people to actually understand freedom, like, and we want to get more people to freedom. Many of my heroes are abolitionists, right? Like Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass. If we want to get more people towards freedom and self-sovereignty, right, then you're gonna have to do that with some love.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to take a bunch of people talking crazy because they don't understand. I've been roasting and riding. We call it riding, but roasting people my whole life, right? That's what we do. So if you get on Twitter and start roasting me, the first thing I'm gonna respond back with is just your mama. Like I'm literally that's the first thing I'm gonna respond back with, your mama. That's literally what it is, because none of that stuff's going to bother me. But what does bother me is the intent of trying to tear someone else down who we can all clearly see their intent was not to be malicious. Like, I don't think Natalie and Pomp were trying to be malicious. They just came up with a product idea, and if you don't want it, don't buy it. A Lexus and a Toyota Camry are pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a
One
good
costs
point.
more.
One costs more. I said, somebody asked for me to describe it. I said the only way I could describe it was like a swing and a miss, you know, from like an idea of like, hey, let's pitch this and see. Now, my wife did say, she was like, she doesn't know any of these people. So she's like, does this Pompliano guy, did he get roasted for charging, you know, whatever on his course?
Man,
and I was like, you know what? I was like, not as
bad.
much.
Not as bad. See,
like,
that's what, now you see what I'm saying. I brought that up to one of the guys. He was like, no, we went after Pomp too. No, not like you're going after this young lady, because there's two things involved. It's the price and the fact that she focused on women. Because here you are, there's literally a faction of men in this country, white males in this country, that feel like they are being ostracized. I think that's the word to use. And I think you start seeing a lot of that pop up. Because I got a buddy, like, he's a young guy. As a matter of fact, he came to the Bitcoin conference. I saw him. He used to work for me. But we used to have very deep conversations. Because I would consider him to be, I don't even know what you call the guys that would have had the tiki torches and the, like what Dave Chappelle talks about. He would have been one of the guys.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's an attack on white men and men. But that's what I'm saying. I don't ever mind having those conversations. And he and I used to have those conversations all the time. He's like, no, there's an attack on white heterosexual men in this country, like da-da-da-da, right? And I would explain to him, I would have to go back into time and teach him a lot of history. Because I have to explain to him where we are right now. And I don't feel like the world's attacking them. I think what is happening is, like I always say, somebody walked in the kitchen, turned the lights on, and all the roaches, you saw the roaches, and they scattered. Nobody likes to know they got roaches in their kitchen. Nobody likes to know that they have an infestation of bigot thoughts, right? Partisan thought, like all of these things that divide. Nobody likes to see that they have all of these issues. Nobody wants to see that, because most people want to believe they're good people. I'm a good person and they're attacking me, right? And I always find it the funniest thing is, I used to tell him all the time, I was like, I always find it funny because you hear a lot of people who feel like they're, like a lot of white men that feel like they're being attacked, calling people snowflakes and all of this other. They call them that, and then they become the snowflake.
They become sensitive to everything.
Yeah, they calling other people victims. Like, you're just using, you know what I'm saying? You're just using your victimhood, but now all of a sudden you're the victim. I was like, because that's how humans are. I don't care if you black, white, red, green, or yellow. Nobody wants to be attacked. And when you're on the other side of something that you might not have done personally, but you're on the other side of a wave. When the wave came back and hit you, all of a sudden it's no, why me? Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, so you have to, that's why everyone has to have a spirit of empathy and love for one another to figure out how we can understand it. Like me and Udi, I wouldn't fight that dude if I saw him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I'll give him a hug. Matter of fact, when I saw him in Big Block Boom, I gave him a hug.
Yeah.
Right? I was
Yeah.
like, what's happening? He's like, Lamar. I was like, Udi, right? We hugged each other at the bar, right? At the bar.
Yeah.
I'm like, but what I'm saying is like, but we can have differences, right? You can be different from someone and not hate them as a person, right? Not try to because that's the thing. Try to destroy them. Like people are getting, like even from a Black Lives Matter perspective, from the homosexual group's perspective, right? People are getting joy out of trying to crucify other people.
Yeah, which is a dangerous slope to go down.
Dangerous slope, my friend. It's witch hunts. That's what I'm saying. And it's not just in Bitcoin, it's all of this polarizing stuff. People put a feather in their head like, yeah, we counseled Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
We got him, didn't we, y'all?
Yeah.
It's like, you counsel what?
Yeah.
We basically killed this guy's career. We killed the baby's career. Like, this is what people are putting a feather in their hat. Like, this is a new badge, a new Boy Scout honor badge that they got. We counseled a person. We together counseled an individual. Doesn't that, like, literally, that sounds exactly like a witch hunt? Yeah. You're not killing people, but you're trying to kill people's reputation. You're trying to kill all of their money. Like you're literally trying to take away their livelihood. They need to be punished for the things they said. And the crazy part about it is, and what I've always seen is that none of us are perfect. And yet we will point out somebody else's flaws and yet have all the same flaws ourselves. That part to me is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you see what I'm saying? And I always tell people, I'm like, if you find something I'm doing wrong, tell me, because I'm not going to get mad. Yeah. Like, especially if I recognize that it's wrong. It's like, if you tell me and it's like you just did, that's why I respect what you did, Corey. Like, you listened to what I said and you was like, man, I never thought about that. Okay, now I feel kind of bad. Yeah, that's the first step. You should feel kind of like, oh, man.
Wait a minute, that was a mistake. There's something about myself that wasn't right.
Right.
And that's how you grow.
Right. That's it. And we have forgotten growth. People want everything fast. They don't want to grow in relationships. They just want tender relationship, but then they want to be married. I'm in all kinds of clubhouse rooms with people like, I want to have a long-term relationship, but then their mentality is still swipe right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it don't work like that. It don't work like that.
It's funny too, because like with you talking about growing, like I always like, I whenever people get like divorced or something and they say, well, they're not the same person that they were whenever we got married, and I'm like, well, I hope not. Jesus Christ, it's been like 10 years. Like, you're gonna be the same exact person. Like, the key is to grow together,
man.
And
that's exactly what I was trying to tell the young people. I was like, y'all trying to find perfect situations from the beginning. Like, and it's not like, it's not going to be perfect. It was funny. Our priest a couple weeks ago at church during his sermon, he goes, how many of you are married here? And it's like, we would raise our hands, and he goes, all right, now how many of you was it completely happy and like pure joy the entire time, and you completely love the other person? And like everybody was just like, like put their hand down, like, no, right. That's so real. That's what I was trying to explain. I was like, the fact that everybody's trying to find a finished product from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
is an issue. I've seen plants that kind of melts together. Have you ever seen that happen?
Where
like a plant kind of grow with another plant.
Yep.
A matter of fact, the woman I know, she has a lemon tree. It's like something happened where the lemons on this side of the tree are different from the lemons on this side. It's weird.
Huh.
It's the strangest thing. But she said it happened somehow, right? Some kind of scientific thing. But what I'm saying is that's the kind of mentality I have. It's like, if you're both two perfect trees, when you get together, y'all probably not going to stay together, because it's very difficult for y'all, right? But if y'all both come from the same soil and the earth and y'all grow together, now all of a sudden you'll stay together forever, right? You're kind of attached to each other because you grew. You got watered and dealt with the struggles together. Because that's a lot of times, that's really what brings people together. Like, I know struggles separate people, but if you in it for the marriage, the struggle actually makes your bind tighter, right? And I think But I think that's the thing. I think that's the whole thing with us old school Bitcoiners. That kind of what brings us together. We done been through the struggles. We done held on to Bitcoin through some craziness. You know what I mean? And it's like,
you guys have been through. That's what, like,
right.
I tell people, I'm like, hey, look, if this person has been here, the longer they've been here and they're a Bitcoin only person, like, holy crap, they got it, and it's getting stronger, and it's not getting weaker.
Oh no,
You're
not at all. You
you're
can
not
hold
gonna
on to those
separate them.
Bitcoins forever. Yeah, it's over. Like you went through your stage of me selling, I think, 2 Bitcoin for a transmission. Like I need a new transmission in my truck, and I sold 2 Bitcoin. And every time the price go up, I'll just be like, "That's the most expensive transmission in the history of mankind." But
That
at
right
that
now,
point,
it's like $116,000 transmission.
because that's me. At that time, I was taking everything and putting it in there, but I didn't really have it like that to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm betting on this thing because I really believe in it. And then life hits you.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh man, what am I gonna do? Well, I could go tell my wife we just gotta, catch the bus this week. I could have did the American Hodl thing and got a moped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of other things, but at that time, I'm like, young, you're like, oh man, I gotta sell some of this. I got it. Plenty. I'm not gonna say I don't have any Bitcoin for the record, Corey.
Yeah.
I have 0 Bitcoin.
I know.
But at the time, I had so much
with that sturgeon. Whenever you were trying to get that sturgeon, the boat flipped, and then
that's exactly what it is. I did a cartwheel in the front yard and it fell out of my pocket. I never would have found it. But it's just like, but back then I was like, man, I got this money here. It's like my savings account. And what do? It's like an emergency fund. If it's a savings account, then I might as well just cash a couple of these out and take the load off, right? And I have to stress it. My wife don't have to worry about it. We still good. I still got some more left, so I'm good, right? It's my savings account.
Yep.
And now I look back and I'm like, I'll never buy another nothing. Like it's hard for me. It's hard for me to do anything with it. Like you can tell me, look, the world's about to blow up and the aliens are coming. And I'll be like, bro, we got to just let this look. The aliens are coming, and if you give them enough Bitcoin, they'll leave. I'm like, hey, we just have to see. We're gonna play chicken on this one.
Yeah. I'm not flinching at this point.
Yeah, I'm not flinching at all. I do not flinch, right? So that's the whole thing. It's like, man, I'm like, now it's so different because we've been through it. Like it's like, okay, I made it through. I'm on the other side. And it's like, it's kind of like hitting your 20th year of marriage. Like it starts getting a lot easier.
Yeah.
I know what her issues are. She definitely knows what mine are. Right? She definitely knows my problems. And so she's like, well, if I lasted this long through them, I can probably last the rest of the time through them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
As long as nothing crazy happens, it's like, yeah, we good. We know how to argue. We know how not to argue. We know how to have make-up sex afterwards, right? That's the whole thing. It's pretty much how it boils down. It's like we love, we argue, we have sex. That's it. Like that's literally how it works. That's a marriage right there. It's like that's really what it is with like even like Bitcoin. Like once you get through it, it's like, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? Like it's as easy. But these young cats, because they want to get to where the old heads are, which I get it, but they thinking about it from a financial standpoint, not understanding that the most important part of it all is freedom.
Yeah.
That's the part.
And that takes the patience.
Right.
It takes patience to get there.
Right.
Because even back whenever you were stacking, when you were stacking at the beginning, it's not like you had the amount of money you have, in value in Bitcoin, years later, you didn't have it then. So you just stacked what you could,
right.
You stacked what I could,
and we still was giving it away.
Yeah.
We still think about it. My buddy always brings up his wallet that I gave him $10 in. I gave him $10, and I think now it's probably worth $5,000-$6,000 or something crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I gave him $10 worth, and he always shows it to me. I'm like, yeah, you owe me lunch every time I see you.
Yeah, forever. Right?
Yeah. But I'm saying, but that's what we were doing. Even though I didn't have a lot, we still was showing love.
Yep.
Like we still was like, listen, I want you to be a part of this thing because this is freedom. I want you to get to freedom with me. Here's $10, right? Get you started. I give you $10 worth of it. It's gonna come back because it's gonna come back to me just because I'm gonna be happy that you were able to make it out. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? And I did that with several people. Everybody didn't hold on to that $10. They mad. Man, I remember you gave me that $10, man. And
and now they're learning their lesson.
Right. But that's part of it too, right? But now it's like we ain't giving people even that chance. Because number one, people are extremely selfish because they understand the asset now.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't want to give away any of this stuff. I can't say the Black Bitcoin billionaires understand that because we gave away over $5,000 in December when we first started the club, just from people in the club giving donations.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Right. Shout out to Andreas. Andreas gave a huge donation to that. Right.
Nice.
And Antonopoulos, shout out to him for he dropped a lot of money in there just to give it so we could keep giving out, because that's all we was doing. We was bringing new people in, giving out Bitcoin. Right.
Well, it's crazy too. Like even like with the tipping feature enabled on Twitter now.
Yeah.
You know, like I got like randomly, you know, somebody like boom, like $5. I'm like, what? Like seriously? You know, like it was like right after I got it enabled, and all of a sudden, you know, it doesn't happen a ton, but you're just like, anytime it happens, you're like, that's unbelievable. Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And then I find myself doing it, you know, like, and I'm just doing it to other people. And,
but see, that passes around a lot easier than have fun staying poor.
Yeah. Yeah. Much easier than have fun staying poor.
I'm telling you, that Black Bitcoin billionaire brought back that same energy at the very beginning. And I've been kind of like, you know, guy today is like, Lamar, missed the pop-ups you used to do. And because I was sick for a month, right? I was out. I had COVID, and then I wound up getting like dang on clot in my lungs. So I was out. I was in the hospital for a minute for like the whole month of September. So it kind of slowed down me doing stuff. But he brought it to my attention, like, Lamar, you need to go back and do those again. I definitely agree. Like, we need to get back to like getting the money out into the people's hands, the whole nine, like, and just giving again, man. And I think
that's what I've been.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to push to people, and I've said on the podcast multiple times, I'm tipping curbside like pickup people, and I'm tipping them in Bitcoin. I'm like, hey, download the Moon Wallet right now. You know, go on your phone, download Moon Wallet, boom. You know, here's 1,000 sats, here's 2,000 sats, or something like that. You know, and be like, now you have some. Start learning about it. You know, like
right.
You know, that's cool, man. That's a great way to, like you said, you're spreading love. I'm sure it's been said many times before, but Bitcoin is kind of love, you know.
It's freedom, love, all that same side of the equation.
Well, you know, you think about like on a religious perspective, because when you know, people say like, oh well, you know, if God wants you to go to heaven, why did he create earth and give you the ability to not love him? You know, and then when you think about it, you're like, the freedom to choose whether or not is ultimate love. That's, you know, that is the love. And that's like, you know, for most parents, you know, 99% of parents, they don't force their kids to love them. You know, they don't need, like, they want them to, but like they love their child no matter what. And, you know, they're free to go in the world and make their own decisions.
Right. It's very easy because you can see freedom, love, patience, kindness, like all of that stuff. And then all you got to do is look up on Google the antonyms of all of those. Right. Hate, bondage, like, and when all you have to do is move towards the side with the freedom, the love, the right, and not the other side. Like, the opposite of love is fear, for real. You know what I mean? So it's like courage is on this side with the freedom. So it takes courage to stand up against the mob of individuals. I'm not saying I have courage. Don't get me twisted. I don't care. Listen, I'm different. I might be crazy. Crazy might be right. That's the line.
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah, crazy is like down to the middle. But most stuff is like, if you start leading yourself by principles that follow after those things, right? It's like your eyes will be open to the other side, and you can start seeing some of this stuff and where it leads to. And it's like that toxic maximalism, I just think it leads towards a direction that is just like, it's not good for us as a space. And to be honest, I think some people don't even realize this, but maybe that's why some of these other coins are getting so much play.
Yeah.
And believe me, their groups are not doing this. Like, because they trying to get as much.
They're
money
taking
as
anybody that wants. Yeah,
they taking anybody, and everybody. They trying to get everybody in there so they can because they've already front run them, so they can dump all the bags on their head.
yeah,
Right.
yep.
So maybe that's why, right? That's why you keep seeing this, like what do they call it? The Bitcoin dominance or whatever. It kind of wanes at times, right? I think
because people start getting pushed out and
they get pushed out. And I know people right now who I've talked to who are holding Doge because they still think that it's going to do something. And no matter how many times because they come in the club, right? And I talk to them. It's like, no matter how many times I talk to them, no, I'm going to hold on to this, man. And I'm just like, that's because, again, now you have people who they've been in these groups with other people and they have a community now. So listen, do what you want. That's the freedom of all of this technology and everything. If you want to hold Doge, hold it. Listen, I'm not going to hold no Doge. Matter of fact, I don't even hold Bitcoin, but I'm not going to hold Doge.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I don't hold Doge. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to berate you because these people still come in the club. I mess with them. They come on stage. We have good conversations. They tell me all these crazy coins they own and all of this stuff. And I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? I know because from my standpoint, I'm not letting them promote it. They just saying what they got. And then we talk about it like, hey, man, that sounds like that's a casino. You da-da-da-da-da, right? But I don't hate them to the point, or I'm not going to take them to the point where I'm like, nope, can't come on this stage no more. Like, that's crazy to me. Because the way I always said, and I've heard it said before, if the truth can't stand on its own, it ain't truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do you need Bitcoin doesn't need you. It doesn't need your protection. You understand what I'm saying?
That's what I love about it. Yeah, people think they need to protect it, and it's like,
you don't need
push to get politicians. I'm like, you don't need them.
Say that, bro. Say that. What we need to do is recognize that's period. It ain't got nothing to do with Bitcoin. We don't need politicians. Politicians need us. And once we understand that, then we'll get back to the power that we need to have in this country as a people.
Yeah.
Period. As people, we are I go into that tirade all the time on Twitter Spaces, but we are the power. We are the power, Corey. We make it seem like the power are the people who we've placed in those positions. And we forget that we are the power. We allow them to govern us and put us in situations that we cannot stand, that we do not like at all. And yet we keep putting them back in office.
Yeah.
Like that's
over and over again.
Over and over, years and years and years and years, and nothing changes. Nothing gets better. Right? Matter of fact,
it's better for them.
There you go. It gets better for them and those that put the most money into their campaigns.
Yep.
That's the way the system works. That's why I like Bitcoin. You can't co-opt that. You can't gatekeep that. I can get Bitcoin if I want to get Bitcoin. You can't keep me from it. Even if you took down all the exchanges, I'm still, before that, I was getting Bitcoin in coffee shops.
Yeah. Yeah. You had your own wallet. You were the first, the first wallet.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We was getting Bitcoin at McDonald's. I was driving to country towns selling Bitcoin to people. Like,
wow.
You're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to stop. So if you know that's not going to stop, then you have to realize that's what Bitcoin does, is that it empowers you. Right?
And it doesn't need you. It empowers you.
It empowers. Yeah.
You don't empower it. It empowers you.
It gives you some of its power. So that now you have more freedom. Now you have more sovereignty. That stuff is powerful. If people understand that, like, to be more independent and not to be dependent upon something and nobody, hey, man. But yeah, I know I done kept you a whole hour, man. When me and you get to talking, it's and since I've been off my bed of affliction, since I've been out of the hospital, like, I've been going, bro. Like, I can't turn it off. I feel so blessed, man.
Dude, it's funny. There's so many people I met in this space, but you're you're one of the first people like I can't wait to just hang out with. And I didn't get to go to BitBlock Boom or anything, and
it's good you didn't. You would have got COVID.
You would have got COVID. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't wait to just yeah, dude. When we get together, me and you are gonna we'll go out for a dinner and a long well,
Good
it'll
talk,
be
man.
it'll be dude, because it's so deep, it's so much more real, like that's what, like, I've been, ever since this whole toxic thing has come up, I've been talking a lot less in spaces, just because, I'm like, look, I'm not going to be mean to anybody, but at the same time, I also do, like, occasionally reach that point where I'm like, I get to the Satoshi point where he says, if you don't get it, I don't have time to explain it to you.
Right.
So, like, sometimes I just get to that point where I'm like, all right, I can't, like, I can't handhold for a little bit here, like, you know what I mean? Like, because if I do, I think I'm going to come off as being mean. So, like, it's just better for me to not say anything right now. And then, but I've been waiting. Now maybe I can come back, and because this has been the refresher that I needed. That's why I texted you, dude. I was like, dude, we
we gotta get it back. We gotta do the thing again.
yeah, we'll have to host a space or something, and maybe I don't know, some nights we'll figure out a night. We'll do. I'll open one up. The hard part of hosting a space is then you're stuck.
Yeah,
Because on Clubhouse you can share, you can switch who the host is, right?
Yeah, they have a co-host now. I think you can do up to 2 co-hosts. So
But
you
you
can
can't,
have
like, let them host, like, you can't let them take over and then
yeah, I
like
think it
sign
happens
off.
because what happens if you get kicked out, you can come back in now. Because you know how people's system with like you'll fall off, like you would lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now they have it where if one of them gets kicked off, the co-host will still be running it.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how it works. I mean,
I
from what
hope
I
so. You
because
would
I think
think
somebody
logically.
dropped because I dropped. I had a room. I made a co-host and I dropped, and then I was able to get on another device and get back in it. So
Okay.
because my phone turned off on me.
So does your
So I
wife
don't
sit
know.
there and go, hey, he's talking about that Bitcoin still? Like, can't he just shut up about it?
My wife, matter of fact, she was telling me the other day. She said, "Lamar, you need to go do more," because she knows like what the mission is.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally on a mission, bro. So
Yeah.
she's like, "You need to do more pop-ups." She literally just told me that. She said it today because I hadn't been doing pop-ups, and the guy kind of called me to the carpet about it. It wasn't in a mean way. He was just like, "Lamar, like we don't like being in those other rooms. Like you
Yeah.
need to start doing pop-ups again." Like, and I was like, "Yeah." I said I used to do them. I said, but I kind of fell off because I'm working on stuff, trying to get stuff done, and I'm like, it's one me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. So I told her, I was basically, but I said, that's my fault. I'm sorry. And my wife had said that to me. Matter of fact, not just today. She keeps telling me, Lamar, you need to, now that you out, like you need to just get back on doing your pop-ups because she knows, number one, I enjoy doing it, but at the same time, she knows what my mission is.
Yeah.
And so as a good wife, she keeps me on my
She's
mission.
That's a good that's a great thing. Yeah, that's and
Yeah.
last night, my dad and I were talking about Bitcoin last night, and I think I might have told you before, my dad's a deacon in the Catholic Church. So,
Oh,
he preaches too. Um and he right now he is in charge of the mission that our diocese has with Chimbote, Peru, which is like a really, really poor impoverished area in Peru.
yeah.
And he's last night, telling me, well, how can we help the people in Peru, and we started talking about it, and I said there's some technical hurdles. I was like, I'm not an expert, but like if people can download wallets and all that kind of stuff and get the ball rolling, it can definitely happen. And then we got to the point where we're talking about how, like I said, I think there's like a touch of divinity with Bitcoin, because, like, it is truth, it is solid truth that can't be manipulated, and, like, that is something that God, like Jesus, would be a Bitcoiner, you know
For
like,
sure. Because
dude, he'd be all about it.
it's all equal. Yeah. It's like you don't have anybody taking advantage of no one else. Like
Yeah.
we all get in at the same place, all in at the same level. Like have you seen Jimmy Song's book? Thank
No,
God,
no,
thank God for Bitcoin.
I gotta read that.
I think it's like him, Bree Love, like 6 other authors. But it's like it's coming at Bitcoin from a biblical perspective. And so yeah, that's exactly, he's like Bitcoin is like God's money, you know what I'm saying? The way they
Yeah,
look at it,
I
So,
gotta read that and then try and get him on the podcast. So that
oh
would
yeah,
be,
yeah, for sure.
I think he and I could, we have a good conversation there. But yeah, man, I dude, I appreciate this because your perspective is, like I said, when you were in that space, I was like, it's needed. And man, people just, they need to chill out and not be, rabid dogs being dicks to people. Just, be defend Bitcoin by all means, but don't don't do it. Uh, you don't have to be mean.
Right.
You just don't have to,
That's my thing is like, we can't control them, but we can control our actions by us actually standing up against it. And at the same time, when we share, we make sure we drop love all the time, man.
Yeah.
There's only so much soil, right? So many people. That's what I always say. There's only so much soil. What seed you plant in them is big. It's huge. Because some of it won't germinate at all. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It sounds very biblical, the stuff I'm saying right now, right? But it's like some of it won't germinate at all. But if you drop a seed of love and it gets nurtured, it'll germinate, and then what'll happen is it'll produce fruit itself. And I've seen that happen so many times in the communities that we've built. Like over time, like if you just continue to lead with love and you just keep doing it, the community, you wind up getting this like loving community as well.
Yeah.
And I just think that's just something that we all just need to look at it from a planet perspective. Like, keep sowing seeds of love, like, period. Like, just keep sowing them, because after a while, those things are going to germ. And when they germ, they're going to grow. And when they grow, they're going to produce fruit. And then those seeds, they'll put those seeds in somebody else. And that's how I look at love, period, man.
Yeah.
I think that's really all it is. So I'm going to just keep spreading love, man. And I'm going to spread love through Bitcoin. I'm going to spread love through Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just keep spreading love. But it's funny you said your dad's a deacon. I'm going to just use this last thing because I probably should have finished what I just said. But I think it's funny because you say your dad's a deacon. And I was talking to someone. I said, some of these Bitcoin maxis remind me of the deacon that is a janitor at work.
Yeah.
Because the deacon that's a janitor at work, he gets pushed around. Everybody looks down on him, but he winds up being a mean deacon.
Yeah.
Because at church, he got a level of power, a status, right?
Yeah.
It's like the police officers, they used to get bullied. Now, all of a sudden, the police officers, they become the big bully.
Yeah.
They've been bullied their entire life. And now they have an opportunity with a nightstick and a gun to bully other people. And they do it. It's like people become what they hated. That's why I said, I really believe that's why it's called a revolution.
Yeah.
Wind up getting right back to the same point. It revolves
all the way around.
All the way back. The person you fight them. Now you get to a point y'all even. Now you got the upper hand and you won. You at the top of the circle. And then guess what? You devolve right back into what you were fighting. And now guess another thing happens. Somebody comes up to start fighting you.
And that keeps going.
And it keeps going. Because you wind up becoming what you hate. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things I got to watch myself on Twitter, because I don't want to be a person that's out here picking fights because everybody else is picking fights, right? Yeah. So I just try to do it in the sense of I make my own post. I'm not jumping on nobody else's unless they saying something crazy, then I'll reply. But I'm not going to just go tweet at somebody and be like, you freaking jerk, such and such. Why are you talking? No, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to become what it is I dislike. But what I do want to do is be able to plant different seeds. And they might not work. They might not land on fertile soil, but there's going to be one or two people that recognize it and be like, all of these Bitcoiners are like this. And let me go holler at this one because he seemed like he's going to teach me something. And as a matter of fact, that happens all the time. In my Twitter back end, like in my DMs, I get lots of people like, hey, man, what about it? I'm like, go to Black Bitcoin Billionaire. We teach every day, right? That's the thing. So it's like, I know that it's working. But I just need to keep getting more people like that to keep spreading it that way, like we used to do. Because I like that culture a whole lot better than what I'm seeing on Twitter. And I truthfully think it's locked into Twitter because that BitBlock boom, it felt like that culture again. And I'm very sure that some of those anonymous people were there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's a hopefully an exclusive Twitter thing, and maybe we can break that.
Maybe it's just that Twitter's like prison. People act a little bit different when they're behind the walls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They all look at each other.
Then they get out. Yeah, they get out now. All of a sudden they regular choir boys. It's like in the walls they hard. You know. So
Yeah, that's funny. Well, dude, Lamar, I appreciate it so much for you coming on, and yeah, we'll have to do this again, and I can't wait to do it in person, and also we'll get on a space together. And if I see Black Bitcoin billionaires
come
and I'm
on in.
available, I'm coming on in.
And I'm bringing you up on stage. That's the thing.
All
Like,
right.
come on up, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, we probably, if you go through our member list, we probably have one of the most diverse clubs on the entire app because there's no other way we get to 130,000 members without that.
Yeah.
Like our club,
This is on Clubhouse, right?
I mean, on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Our club is extremely diverse. I mean, from all over the world, Indian, Chinese, Nigerian, like it's extremely diverse. So it's not just like it's not just black people in the club. And from the beginning, we were making everyone members. It wasn't like we were even being exclusive from the membership position. Now everybody's a member in Clubhouse, but before you had members and followers, and we would go through and without any discrimination and make everybody members.
That's
like
awesome.
One by one. So yeah, man, come on through, man. You know you the homie.
I'll be there. I'll hop in. I'm gonna put my real face on my profile too here. So that way I don't want to be a nim, I don't want to be anonymous.
It's okay, man. Listen, I don't have a problem with anonymous people. I just have a problem with anonymous people that use it for violence.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel it feels too Ku Klux Klanish. Like I'm good with being anonymous. Like that's cool. And you know what I'm saying? That's cool. You can be anonymous. That's what back in the day, I was like some weird name on local Bitcoins. Nobody knew who I was. They meet me and they still didn't know who I was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I forgot what my name was so weird on local Bitcoins. I wouldn't even met me.
I'm jealous of Gigi. The fact that he can just, nobody knows what he looks like. And I'm like,
nobody knows at all who Gigi, because he don't do that. He don't go nowhere, right?
Nope.
But it's like, it's like for me, like, I don't know. I take the approach is like, let your light shine so men may see your good works. It's like, why you have a light and hide it under the bushel? That's just me. Because to be honest, like, who am I afraid of? I ain't afraid of nobody. Nothing. I'm telling you right now. Like, I just ain't. Everybody knows me for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not very many things that I'm going to like run from. Yeah. So it's like, why in the world do I care? Right? Like, I don't care if you know me. I hope you know me. Hope you know me, because I hope that you know me for spreading love. And when you see me again, you give me a hug, right?
Yep.
That's, hey, Lamar, right? That's like, know me all day. Because I want that love to come back, because I'm a reciprocate that into somebody else. And we're going to spread that thing around, because, hey, we got it. Somebody got to fight the good fight if somebody's fighting the bad one. Anyway, I'm going to stop, man. You're going to have me on here talking more. But yeah, man, it's always a pleasure, bro. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll do this again, definitely. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later, man.